Before We Were Blue by E.J. Schwartz. Narrated by Chloe DeLandis and Gail Shallon. Author's note, with content and trigger warnings. Books about bodies, how they look, how they feel, how they move, are often unsettling. First, I want to note that there is no universal experience for an eating disorder. This book could never cover the full spectrum of eating disorders, nor will it try to. That said, I do want to prepare my readers. The characters in this novel have thoughts that can be complex, contradictory, and all-consuming. Humor, especially dark humor, is one of the many ways they cope with their suffering. From my experience, dark humor and writing dark humor have been some of the best remedies for my own pain. My hope is that some of the catharsis I felt while writing Before We Were Blue is accessible to you, its reader. This book also has mentions of sexual assault and suicide, a book about bodies without mentioning the very real threat that the self and others, family, friends, peers, strangers, can pose to those bodies, felt untrue in nature. I tried to tell this story as unafraid as possible and let hurt and healing come through on the page. So, if you make it through this journey with these extraordinary, complicated, vibrant young women, I believe you'll find a world of growth, laughter, light, and love. Now, without further interruption, this is Before We Were Blue. E.J. Schwartz. There is no chance that we will fall apart. There is no chance. There are no parts. June Jordan.
1. Shoshana. Here she is, perched on the ladder of our bunk bed, all botched hair and bitten nails, like her body is the one thing she can stand to chew. Rowan's face fits her name. Sharp cheeks, heart-shaped lips, the kind of eyes that feel like a challenge. When I told her that, she said it's because R is a menacing letter, and she's the fire starter type. Today, she's trying to expel that fire through one of her favorite games. What if? Last Thursday's was, what if we switched places with the nurses for a day? I said we'd quit our jobs immediately, hop on a train, and live the rest of our days as TEFL course leaders abroad. But Rowan said that was too easy. Instead, we should separate the nurses, refuse to give them any food, chain them to the ladders of our bunk beds, and laugh, devilishly, at the sight of their shrinking waists. It'd be the reverse of what they do to us in here, fattening us up for what Rowan deems slaughter. When we get in there, you have to do it quick. Rowan hisses at me now, placing her fingers 2 inches above her collarbone, on the side of her neck where a baited vein beats blood to her brain, into this idea. What if you killed me at breakfast this morning? That's the pretend prompt she's chosen, and running with. And don't hesitate. Stab as hard as you can. Right here. Don't you mean slit? I ask. I've heard of people slitting throats before. Sylvia Plath when she was 10. A man in Houston last month to his girlfriend right in the middle of a KFC. Dean, during his epic suicide in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've never heard of anyone stabbing a throat. Rowan hits her fist against the ladder's worn wood. Stab, she corrects. The knives in there won't be sharp enough for a clean cut, and I don't need you sawing off my windpipe. I'm faking suicidal, Shoshana, not sadistic. Rowan uses the word faking a lot. Sometimes, I wonder who she was before all this, before becoming a recovery and relief patient. Everyone here calls it RR. And even before that, when she wasn't sick at all. On her first day at RR, she chopped off her hair, then dyed it eggplant purple with a Kool-Aid packet snuck from the gray kitchen. The story I heard upon arrival put Britney Spears to shame. In my head, it plays closer to Demi Moore and G.I. Jane than Robin Tunney and Empire Records. Still, the image of pre-Rowan, Barbie's doppelganger, never settles. Rowan agrees. She says she came out of the womb early, eager to sin, but never fully met herself until she hacked a pair of scissors 2 inches above her scalp. We decide to make Rowan's death swift and painless as we head for the stairs, then are halted by the sight of the other gray girls. They're huddled by the bottom step, whispering and glancing at the staff room door like nervous schoolchildren. Our gaze follows theirs. We creep closer, peek at the shut staff room door and the gray kitchen past it at the end of the hall. The gray kitchen is for gray girls like us, patients who haven't been cleared to eat by ourselves yet. Rowan and I are late. The rest of the gray girls should have gone in to eat by now, but they're gathered together with runny, unblinking eyes. When we reach the bottom step, Rowan grabs Jazzy's arm, tight and urgent. "What is it? Where are the nurses?" Jazzy and Donna, the girls who Rowan and I room with, stand in the center of the gray girls. They're both Asian, with thick black hair and yellow teeth eroded by bulimia. Seeing them side by side, I can't help but think Jazzy, with her full lips and narrow nose and poreless skin, is prettier than Donna. On eyes, it's a tie, both pairs brown and deep-set. But Jazzy wins wholeheartedly again on hair, hers longer and glossier with blunt-cut ends. Glancing away from their bodies, I make a fervent wish I was blind. That we all were. Blind or bodiless. I hate being so judgmental, that my first instinct is to treat Donna as lesser because of the way she looks. I fight it by turning the observations inward, remembering how before RR I was prettier. Not pretty, never pretty, just prettier. Then I stopped eating, and clumps of my hair began falling out, and now there's a tiny bald spot on the crown of my head, just like Dad's. I hide it by clipping the front pieces back. Rowan glimpsed it one time after a shower. Her fingers smoothed down the few strands left, and I thought maybe I would die if it were possible to decompose of shame. But then she went on a tangent about the removable shower heads being one bonus of this place, acting like I was a normal human being. If I didn't love her before that, I did after. "You guys remember Alyssa?" Donna asks as she readjusts her wide yellow headband. She said she cut off her front bangs in 5th grade, and when the hairs grew back, straight up, she started wearing headbands over her ears and around her forehead to hide the sprouts. Then after 6 months, headbands felt more comfortable that way, and she's worn them incorrectly ever since. I wonder if Donna knows she's the ugly one too, the way I am next to Rowan. "Alyssa." Donna says her name again. Short, stumpy, slurred her S's. The gray girls nod, and I do too. Alyssa was a blue girl a month ago, released back into the wild after we threw her a go-home and don't-come-back party, decorated a cake no one wanted to eat. Remember how she faked her period so they lowered her goal weight, and she gained the last 5 pounds by stuffing quarters in her underwear, then got out on early release? Rowan nods, but I'm in the dark. Maybe this was during the 3 weeks Rowan was here before I checked in. She seems so sure of Alyssa's deception, like she played a hand in helping her escape. Back up. How do you fake a period? I ask. Very few things slide past the nurses here. I suspect Nurse Hart would have heard the change clicking between Alyssa's butt cheeks before anything went under the radar at weigh-ins. She threw up blood onto a tampon and pretended, says Donna. She talks like a gum chewer, slow and rhythmic. Where did she get the tampon? I ask. Jazzy purses her lips, and her cheekbones round like golf balls. One of the blue girls, probably. Bet the nurses just thought one of them lent her Playtex as a